Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video we'll be talking about web scraping. So without having any further ado, let's get straight into the meat. So let's first understand what is web scraping. This is the process of extracting information from a web page by taking advantage of the patterns in a web page's underlying code. We can use web scraping to gather unstructured data from the internet, process it, and store it in a structured format. In this video, we'll be storing our data in JSON file, but you can literally store the data into anything. It could be a MySQL database, or it could be a text file, or it could be anything. So before getting into web scraping, let's also talk about, is it the only way to get unstructured data from a website, or are there certain alternatives to it? As although the web scraping is a useful tool in extracting data from a website, it's not the only means to achieve this task. Before starting to web scrap, find out if the page you seek to extract data from provides an API. What is an API? API is something provided by the website owner from which you can extract the unstructured data and then use it in your own application by making a request to that API. You should also ensure that you check the robot.txt file of a website before making your scrapper. This file tells you if the website allows scrapping or if they don't. To check the robot.txt file, simply type in the base URL followed by /robot.txt. An example could be mysite.com/robot.txt. So let's get started with the code. We will be extracting the data from books to scrap website, which you can use to practice your web scraping. We will extract the title, ranking, link to more information about the book, and cover image of the book. You can find the code and everything on GitHub, links in the description. Okay, so I have opened up the PyCharm code editor, and now let's begin coding our web scrapper. So the first thing we need to do in our code is import the libraries. So the first library I would import would be the requests, and what this request library would do, it will be responsible for making post or get HTTP or HTTPS requests. The next thing we need to import is another library, that is JSON library. So what this library would do, this would help us transform the unstructured data into structured data in the form of JSON, and it will also be responsible for pushing our data into the JSON file. So the next library that I want to import is beautifulsoup, and I want to do it a little bit different. That would be from bs4 import beautifulsoup. Now once this beautifulsoup library gets imported, the next thing we need to do is add a random user agent, which will be responsible to convince the website that we are real users and we don't want to hurt your website. So the thing is that most of the websites don't allow the robots to access their website. So that's why we use this user agent to make sure that the website understands our request, and the website knows that the request we are making is authentic and not some hack or something like that. So you can find on internet all about the random user agents. You can just search in Google for random user agents and you will find tons and tons of information. But in my case, I'm not willing to type in everything. Like I don't want to type in this whole thing. So that's why I just copied and pasted the one I previously created. As I already said, you can just find this user agent in Google. I will also paste the link to the code in the description, so you can go to the GitHub link and get the code from there. So the next thing in our code we need to do is to make a request. For making a request, I will create a variable by the name of R and make it equal to request.get. And to get function, I will provide two things. The first thing is the base URL, which is not yet created. So let's create that base URL, and that would be equal to this website's URL, which is books.toscrap. So books.toscrap is a website which allows you to test your scraping project on this website and then implement them. So this is completely free to scrap, and they have given you legal information to scrap their website. You can use it for any kind of test. So in this video, in this example video, we'll be working with this book2scrap. So I have copied its link and I will paste it inside the double quotes. Once I paste it, I will to the get function, I will pass this base URL as well as headers would be equal to this header that we just created. So what this line would do, this would trigger the get request, and it would headers. So what this line would do, this would log a request or trigger a request to books.toscrap.com and try to get information, and then store it in the R variable, and this is basically equal, not minus. So the end result would be stored in this R. Now is the time to check whether if we really receive the data. So we can do that by writing if r.status underscore code is equal to 200. If the code of the status of R is equal to 200, then indeed we did receive the data. And now what we want to do is we want to perform some operations on that data, and if no data was returned, we want to just print that error code, r.status code, and that's it. Now the next thing I want to do in my code is to basically parse the HTML to this beautiful soup library. So I can do that by writing soup equal to beautiful soup, and I want to pass it the HTML. So that would be r.text, the one we have received from the get request that we made. And then what I want to do, I want to specify that it should go through the HTML parser. So once the unstructured data is passed to the beautiful soup, now we can filter through data. So the first filtration would be to just get the books from it. And how can we get just the books from the whole HTML from this whole website would be to come over here and inspect the elements and just to specifically get what we want. So right over here you can see that our entire data or one entire book is stored in this li. So what I can do is I can just target this li and get all of these li's instead of getting all of the HTML. For narrowing down the entire HTML to just books, we can do that by writing soup.find_all, and to all I can pass the first parameter would be li, and from li and in the li I just want to target the li's with the attributes equal to having a class, and the class having a value, the one we copied. So now we have all of the books. What we can do is we can get specific data from these books, like still these books are in raw form or in HTML form. So we can loop through these books and get the title, the link, the stars, and the price and everything we want from the books specifically. So we can do that by writing from book in books. So we are filtering through, we are looping through the whole books array, and we are just getting single value from it. So now if I'm willing to get just the title of this book, this single book, I can write title is equal to book dot find, and I can pass the h3 to it, so it will find out the title of the book and I can store it in the title. But still, if we go right over here, you can see that in h3 the title is stored, but still we have an href on top of it. So what we can do is we can just specifically target its text and store it in the title. So one book is with us, the title of one book is with us, or the entire array is with us. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to store it in JSON format and push it to a file. So how can we do that? We can do that by simply declaring an array right over here. That would be result is equal to an empty array. So we can do that by creating a JSON object by the name of single and making it equal to and pushing just the title in it for right now. Later on we'll push everything else, but right now let's just work with title because we already have that. And now once we create this single object, the next thing is to push it to this result array, and we can do that by writing result.append, and we want to append this single to it. Okay, so we do have this result array. Let's print out the result array and see what we are getting. So I'll write print, and then we will print the result and save the program and come back. I will first deactivate the current environment and then activate internetseco.com, the one that is currently working. Once the internetseco.com gets activated, I will try to run the program. So that would be python main.py. So we are actually getting an error because number one, we have attrs instead of attr, and the rest of everything is, I think so, okay. But let's again check the error, what it's saying, and failed to establish a new connection. I think it might be the issue of the internet. So let's try to run it again, python main.py. So we have received all of the titles that you can see from the books. Okay. So now that we have printed the result and everything works fine, let's basically store the data. So we can store the data by writing with open, and this line would open up the books.json file in the right mode. If it's not there, it will create one. Like right now, you can see that here we don't have any JSON, the book.json file, but it will create that file first and then it will store the data in it. So for storing the original data, we'll write JSON. We are calling the JSON library. Dump is a function that receives the object and the f we just created, and we will give an indent of 4 just for the readability purpose. And once that's done, I will save everything and then come back to the terminal and run the same code again by writing python main.py. Once the code gets executed, you can see that we have created a file with which stores all of the titles of the books. You can see that we do have all of the data right over here stored in the books.json file. Okay, so now you can get crazy with getting the data, like you can get the link, the stars, the price, and everything you want. But let's just for the sake of this demo, let's just get the link of the book as well. So if I open up any book, you can see that we do have base URL and then the catalog and the book name and stuff like that. So if you come over here, we do have this catalog and the book, everything, but we don't have the base URL. So for getting the link, I can come over to the code and declare a variable by the name of link and add a base URL. As discussed, the first thing we need to do is the base URL and then concatenate the book.find a, wrap up that in single quotes, and then find the href, save it, print the single, or print just the link, save everything, run the code by writing python main.py, and you can see that we do have all of the links, the required links. So now for adding the link as well to the file, we just need to put a comma in the single object. We just put a comma in front of the title and then write link and make it equal to the link we have created. Now we can do the same thing with getting the picture, and for picture we can do the same thing as we did with the link. The only thing we need to do is come over to the code and declare a variable for picture and make it equal to first the base URL. And why the base URL? Because there isn't any base URL right over here. So the first thing we need to do is put the base URL and then book.find img, and then in the img I want to find the source. And as usual, if I'm willing to put the image to the file, I will just append it to the single object, and that would be picture, and it would be equal to the picture variable that we have just created. Now you can do the same thing with the price and with much more. So let's run the program once more. I will delete this file from here, and let's just rerun the code once more. CLS, and it would be python main.py. Now if I open up the books.json file, you can see that we do have the title, link, and the picture as we did in our code. So now you can get crazy with it and you can get everything. You can get the stars, you can get the price, you can get anything you want. You can get the categories, you can get the classes, you can get anything you want. But for me, that is pretty much it for this video. Once more from the code, the first thing we did was to import the libraries, then we created the headers, then we created the base URL, and then we requested the URL bypassing the headers and requesting the data from it. Then we checked the status, and if the status was right, we did get the HTML. Then we separated the title and everything, and in the end we stored everything in this book.json file. So that is pretty much it for this video. If you do have some questions about scrapping, or if you didn't understood what I really wanted to show you, you can leave a comment down below. I'm always there to help you. Have a pleasant day. Bye for now. Peace.